Some of the experiences we go through in life, they actually test our love for God. While we're loving God for what He can do for us, while we're following God because He can open a certain door for us, but can our love go beyond all that? Can we be tested and go through testings and go through a storm? Can you be rejected by people? Can you be locked out? Can you be hated? And at the same time, yet you still know that you still love God and nothing can shake your love for God. Many times we have experiences that will come to test your love for God. Many times the difficulties of life, the wildernesses of life, they will come along and they will test your love for God. When you go through the storm, you go through the valleys, your love for God shall be tested. And every day as a child of God, there are things that you must be aware that God is taking you through, and many times they are happening and they test your love for God. Do you truly love God from your heart, or is your love for God attached to some blessings and some things that you may want God to do for you? If you are going to love God, then you must love God and love Him from your heart. It must be from the heart. Turn to the person next to you, tell them it must be from the heart. Many times I wonder what our generation will say when we get to heaven. And some people say that I left church because so and so spoke about me. And then the disciples and the apostles will start to give their experiences. They will say of how they were beaten, how they were stoned, how they were put in prison. But they continued loving God. They kept on preaching the gospel. May God see in us a people that can love Him and love Him genuinely, love Him sincerely, whether He gives you the money or He doesn't, whether you get the job or you don't get the job, whether you get married to that man or you don't get married to that man, whether you go through the storm or not. Jesus was saying that this is my commandment: love God and love Him with your heart. Tell your neighbor it must be from the heart. You know, there are people who follow God because of what God can do for them. They will keep on praying if God can keep on answering. They will keep on committing and serving God if God can keep on delivering results in their lives. But the kind of love that God has called us to love Him with is a love that cannot be shaken by what is happening in our lives or what is taking time to happen in our lives. It must be from the heart. And when God looks at our love for Him, He says, if we are going to love Him, then we must love God from our hearts. So the first commandment is that you love God. But how we love God, we love Him from our heart. But then He goes on to say, not only with all of your heart, but love God with your soul.